What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTB Ravens Media. And the Baltimore Ravens have just put in. Also, my hair. I don't know why my hair's coming out of my hat on this side. It looks really bad. Now I got to fix that. But the Ravens have just won their 22nd preseason game in a row, highlighted by none other than the guy that I swear we talk about him every other day, if not every day, Isaiah the Gorilla Likely. 8 receptions, 100 yards, and a touchdown to cap off that drive. The Ravens' last drive in the first half. Joshua, what are your thoughts on this game while I fix my hat from looking terrible?
I mean, we talk about it all the time. I've been saying it since, we drafted the Gorilla. He was a wide receiver in high school. Even when he was at Coastal Carolina, they lined him up in the X position. So, I mean, him being able to get out there, showing what he's made up, and he's been doing it ever since, we drafted him. You've been hearing praise about him. He's been showing that he can go in between the numbers and catch the ball. He's showing he can rip the ball away from some of the strongest linebackers. So, I mean, him being able to we really don't, Dawson. We really don't. We really don't because, we really know what we got in this young man. And I've been saying it. If he takes off the way that, I've been feeling like he's going to take off, he's going to open up a door for not only Bateman, but also Mark Andrews, where Mark Andrews, he doesn't have to worry about, putting the load on his shoulders all the time. I mean, granted, I feel like Lamar Jackson will depend on Mark Andrews to, move the chains, but having another tight end on the opposite side, hey, it's good. It's good for a quarterback like Lamar Jackson. Just remember, when we went to the Super Bowl, we had Dennis Pitta and Ed Dixon, and we saw how that worked out.
And we got improvements on both of those guys, which like the way Isaiah Likely played. I mean, it was not just. I mean, I love the fact that Greg Olsen was calling this game was perfect because Greg Olsen, one of the best pass catching tight ends that the 2000s, early 2010s. I mean, that was the dude, right?
Yeah.
Just sitting that soft spot, catching. He wasn't great after the catch, but just very, very solid fundamentally as a tight end, as a pass catcher. And he's talking about it. He's like, the way Isaiah Likely is sitting in these holes of the defense, catching the ball like that to me showed like this guy can do it. His first reception sits at that, first down marker, catches it, soft hands, is able to kind of lean back, get the first down, gets knocked backwards, but gets the, the forward progress rule. Yeah. Then the next reception, catches it, shrugs off a tackler, runs up the field, kind of stiff arms, high steps through the next guy and like jukes by him, just keeps on going. It was like, what is this guy on? Like, I feel like, Amon Shumpert, when he was talking about, him guarding Kobe at the MSG, when he's talking about, and he's like, bro, what is this dude doing? Like, what is he on right now? Like, because he's just doing things that, like, you should be doing in the preseason. I mean, and this wasn't fourth quarter, shenanigans. This was, trying to play with the best possible players that he could have been playing against. And it was just, he made them all look silly as a big body tight end. He is just difficult to tackle. And we've seen that in both games. He's unbelievable. He is absolutely unbelievable. We've been talking about this guy, but I swear we hype him up so much and it is coming true. We talked about Joshua in this draft, you can't miss, but you can miss. Isaiah Likely right now, we talked about like we needed to have at least one guy, that could come in and like really be a game changer. I feel like right now we've got two, I think guaranteed. I think Isaiah Likely and Jordan Stout, which we'll talk about Jordan Stout. The third one could very potentially be Travis Jones. We don't know what the injury situation is right now. Obviously hoping that he ends up being okay. I believe it's a knee injury that he went down with. But, when I saw him on the field, I thought he played really well. That penalty was nothing that I was watching and I was like, you idiot. Because sometimes we see guys like Adafe last year had a lot of roughing the passers. We saw a lot of roughing the passers out of like Matthew Judon, where it's like they just decked the quarterback after 2 seconds after he released the ball. He was like, he hit him as he threw. Hit him. It looked like he wasn't trying to hit Thelma. He was trying to hit him with the upper body, but just the face masks kind of bumped into each other. So something that you can definitely fix up. But
yeah, it was definitely something. It was definitely like it was just he was in the motions. He was in the motions. He was going through the play. If you're going to get a penalty, you might as well see it all the way through at that point. But if he definitely did try to lower himself, to try to go through his body, who knows what would have came out of that? That's about 300. It's about 340 pounds beating down on Trace McSorley. I don't know. Hey, Dawson, man. Come on now. Come on.
I mean, it's true. And he also put up a touchdown at 100 yards. It's like,
come on now. Y'all talking about a 5'10" wide receiver that's a $180 versus, a tight end at 6'3", 6'4", 230. Come on now. Dawson.
Yeah, I think it's funny because Raleigh Webb, I believe he was the guy that caught the touchdown. He also wears number 11, and it's super annoying. I don't know how it's possible that two guys wear the same number. Like, they don't have 100 players on the roster and 99 players on the roster.
No.
I don't know how in college, I know, like, if you're a special teams player, you can have the same number as a defensive player and stuff like that. But I think it's hilarious that they both rock number 11. If he ends up making the team because he played pretty well, he's definitely gonna have to change it.
Game one, he did pretty good in the slot too. If he's a slot guy, I like what he brings to the table. The outside guys, they were quiet. The Cardinals defense, they definitely prepared well to play those outside wide receivers because it was a quiet game for my boy Shamar. I didn't see Benjamin Victor out there. I don't think we even saw Jalen Moore out there. So yeah, it was a pretty quiet game.
Yeah, and I see a lot of people. I see Terrence Moore. He's commented a lot. I'll try and just pull up one. Frustrated with the fact that Travis Jones was playing in the fourth quarter. I have no problem with it. Obviously, any injury is unfortunate. Any injury. But at the same time, the Ravens don't have that many defensive linemen. And it wasn't like it didn't seem like he was out there every play. Like they were rotating throughout the entire game.
Right.
So obviously it sucks that he got injured, but at the same time, trying to get reps at the defensive line spot, that's important. It's very different for a running back because running backs, it's the same from NFL to the college football to NFL, even from high school. I mean, being able to read holes. Yeah. The defenders are a little bit faster, but running back is the most seamless position. So, playing like guys like J.K. Dobbins, like, okay, maybe you don't need to play him. But Travis Jones, he's trying to get ready to face that NFL competition. These guys are all stronger. You got to figure out the types of moves you're going to use. You got to figure out how to stop those runs. And he played really well in the fourth quarter. It's just, obviously we hope that he ends up not being, seriously injured or anything like that. So we'll find out, probably within the next couple of days what really happened. But also shout out to I think it's Hathim, or is it Hathim Sunyan? How you doing?
What's going on? And I don't know about you. Did you peep the Brent Urban sighting?
I did peep it. Yeah, like the first quarter. He might have been the first drive. I was like, whoa.
Damn, I forgot.
Also, I think I spotted a man by the name of Tony Poljan.
Did you?
I think I did. In the fourth quarter, the Ravens called a play on the last drive of the game, and they ended up going, I don't know what the formation is. I think it's called full house formation, where they get one fullback. Basically, it's a strong formation, fullback offset, running back in the back, and they shifted a guy to be the other offset guy, opposite the fullback. So it's 1, 2, 1. And I believe Tony Poljan was the guy that shifted in to be that, in that other spot. And I saw him and I was like, okay. It was either him or Kohler, and I thought Kohler was injured. So I think it was Tony Poljan.
Yeah, because we don't get Kohler back to like the actual season.
Yeah.
Okay,
so shout out to Tony Poljan for coming into the game.
Ben Mason. Ben was out there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I definitely saw Ben Mason. Don C knows what's up.
No, I definitely I feel you on that, Don. I feel you on that.
I see. Oh, wait. I didn't want to pull this out, but we can talk about rather have small numbers on quarterback and higher numbers on the defense. Yeah. The big bodies should be the higher numbers. The lower numbers should be the guys. I think that's kind of a good rule of thumb, Lisa. I like that. But death to Betta. Is Isaiah Likely? Joshua, I'll let you go first. Is he a Rookie of the Year candidate?
Shoot. It really depends on how many the plays we run and how many times he's targeted during the season. If he's targeted just as much as an Andrews or a Bateman, I definitely feel like he'll be like number 2 in the running for Rookie of the Year.
And also, I'm seeing that according to John Harbaugh, Travis Jones suffered a hyperextended knee. He's out for the rest of the preseason, but they don't think it's anything serious. So basically, he's missing next week. Hopefully, he'll be back for week 1. And also, we were up by 3 touchdowns. Remember, this is preseason. The Ravens are trying to get engaged. Obviously, they wanted to win. They were able to win. They were in a situation where they were leading. The goal isn't to win by 30. The goal is to understand what they have. So they started to say, hey, let's start running some interesting routes. And they kind of got more advanced with those routes. And Anthony Brown ended up throwing that interception. He threw the one interception. And that was just a misread by him. He had, I think it might have been Bailey Gaither and whoever was in at tight end, or maybe it wasn't Gaither, but wide receiver running, I believe, an in route, but then the tight end at the same time was running a streak, and they kind of got bumped, and the wide receiver was unable to get underneath the defensive linebacker, so then he ended up getting that interception. So it started to get more complex towards the end, which I liked to see. Obviously got a little bit stressed out because my score prediction was 24-17. And I was like, come on, guys, you got to keep this up. But I think it's going to be like, I was not upset with Harbaugh or Greg. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, the play calling is supposed to be simplified in the preseason. So it's perfect for Greg Roman, actually.
Now, I don't know about you, but it felt like when I know we had the conversation before the pregame about, Huntley and Anthony Brown and how he wasn't, how Huntley really doesn't throw the ball. First half, it's like there was calling more plays for Huntley to throw the ball versus Anthony, where it was more plays to showcase the running backs. Don't get me wrong, Anthony Brown did get his throws in, but I feel like they were trying to help Tyler Huntley out just to see how he commands the offense and getting the guys down the field. What you think?
Yeah. I also think the Ravens just got up. The Ravens are not a team. Like, Harbaugh's not a guy where, especially in the preseason, where he's going to try and run up the score. So, like, once Anthony Brown hit that laser of a touchdown pass, they were like, all right, let's just kind of run the ball out. Let's just kind of end this. Because they were up by 21. Yeah. And so it's just like, okay, they don't need to try and keep slinging the rock. Like, they can try and just run the ball out and use their running backs. Nate McCrary, Tyler Beatty, Justice Hill, I believe. I saw all 3 of those guys on those last couple of drives. So, overall, I think it was kind of the lead thing. But really liked what I saw out of both quarterbacks. Anthony Brown, I mean, that's a rookie interception. Just trying to get that timing down. But, I mean, that throw that he threw to was it Gaither? No, it wasn't Gaither. It was who was the touchdown?
It was the Webb.
Yeah. Raleigh Webb. I think it looked really good.
So, yeah, most definitely. I guess my whole thing is because the wide receiver room is just very overcrowded. I feel like we should be just airing the ball out more just to see who continues to separate themselves. That's all. But Tyler Beatty, I don't know about you, but he kind of reminded me of a younger Justin Forsett in a sense. He's short, agile, quick, strong. He put his hand down on the ground.
Have a good night, Don C.
Have a good one, baby. But I thought he was about to pull. I thought he was about to pull a legendary move like Tyshawn Williams, put his hand in the ground and get back up and get into the end zone. So, I definitely love what Tyler Beatty is going to bring to this offense, man. He's very dynamic, got his soft hands, and he can be another piece, a weapon out there as well.
Yeah, I definitely liked what I saw out of him. Another wide receiver that I really like, Mekhi Polk. His ability to, because one of the things the wide receivers have been struggling with is the scramble drill with Lamar. Mekhi Polk showed the scramble drill with Tyler Huntley. He rolls out to the right. He's running across the field. I can't remember if it was a slant or, some sort of crossing route. And he hits the brakes because he's rolling the other way, turns back around. Tyler Huntley hits him. And he ends up getting the first down. He maybe could have gotten a couple more yards, but since he had to turn to catch the ball, it was either turn right or turn left. I think he turned the wrong way. But overall, got the first down and really a big play early in the game. But then on the defensive side of the ball, Pepe, Joshua, we were hoping for the pick six. He got the pick. And then Ardarius Washington. Was this the first time we've seen Ardarius Washington?
Yeah.
Because he's been hurt, and he looked like he played great. They got the big touchdown pass over him. Great catch. But, to end the game, he got the breakup. So I felt like I really liked what I saw out of him. And he played physical. He played those plays great. Like that touchdown reception, it was just a great catch. It was great defense, even better catch. Then the final play, it was just better defense.
Yeah. I mean, Pepe Williams, he's a dog. I love him. Sorry, y'all. Twitter is jumping. So if y'all hear the notifications, it's jumping. Yeah, y'all. But Pepe Williams, like I say, he's a dog, man. I love what he brings to the table. Even how he brought that pressure on the outside on that blitz. And Moon was coming through the inside. I forgot who else was. I forgot what defensive lineman was causing that interior pressure as well. But they end up, running into. We need to trade for Kyler to replace Giro. Hey, Dylan. Listen. Maybe one day we get Kellen Moore.
This is something else.
No, for
We've
sure.
been missing this. We've been missing this.
I like that. It was definitely. I mean, he sold it. He definitely sold it for real. I mean, that's what you get playing in the SEC. You learn how to be an actor every now and then, and he. I love the way he did extend that play. Like you said, McConnell. It's a lot of times where wide receivers, when Lamar breaks, they don't break with him to make themselves available. Well, I've seen it with Rashad Bateman when he got healthy and got into the games, but hopefully we see a lot more of that. And that's going to separate us a lot. That's how Patrick Mahomes make a lot of his money. Everybody breaks. Everybody just find themselves open and he just slings it. So, if we can take a little bit out of that book and implement it to, our game, hey, sky's the limit for this team. All we got to do is stay healthy, play and run a balanced offense, and we can get to the promised land.
Yeah, and there's one guy that I need to talk about. No one's brought it up, so I'm throwing it in the chat, and then I'm going to put it up on the screen. Oh, my gosh, my caps lock is on. Let's see here.
I was going to get to him.
I haven't seen him in the chat. I'm like, how's nobody talking about this?
I was going to get to my dog. Man, come on, man. Yo, he's playing like a man possessed. I love the veteran presence in Josh Bynes. But I mean, hey, if he can find his way out there in the field with PQ and Josh Bynes, it's gonna be intense this upcoming season. It's like the game is slowed down for him for real, and he's everywhere. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, Malik Harrison, he provides. He's the thumper. I mean, the way that he played on that goal line. I mean, he drilled, I think, Trace McSorley. He drilled whatever running back was in at the time. He just kept hitting dudes at 100 miles an hour. And it was like, I wasn't seeing him miss. I wasn't seeing him, getting bullied in coverage. And I was seeing him make plays and getting guys in the backfield and wrapping up. It wasn't like he's bouncing off him. Like, no, he's hitting him, grabbing him. Just like, I mean, Pepe Williams, shout out to him. He stuck up a guy on third down, I believe it was, and just dropped him in his tracks. Malik Harrison was doing the same thing. He played great. He showed a lot of development. Showed the guy that we were hoping he would become when we drafted him out of Ohio State. Like that was the guy that we wanted, the guy that can hit people as hard as anyone else. I mean, even like Greg Olsen, you would hear him hit someone, and he'd be like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah,
like, they were freaking out.
That one hit he laid on Trace, I said, "Woo!" Because I heard that one. That was a good one.
Yeah. And I want to give my thoughts on this because I saw people talking about Kyle Hamilton on Twitter. And I saw someone, he was like, man, Kyle Hamilton just hasn't been it today. Haven't been seeing anything. They weren't going to Kyle Hamilton. Right. That's a good thing. They weren't throwing it. The first time the ball was around Kyle Hamilton, red zone, jumps up, swats it down with his left hand at the goal line. It's like, he played fantastic. Now, did he bait the quarterback into a 40-yard interception like Ed Reed did against Peyton Manning? No. But no one was throwing at him. And he would be running at guys trying to make the tackle. They step out of bounds. He's forcing them out of bounds. Like, he played well. Just because you're not like, I think it's when cornerbacks aren't targeted in games, that doesn't mean they played bad. That means they played really well because the guys weren't open. Nobody was throwing in Kyle Hamilton's territory. Nobody was running at Kyle Hamilton. That's impact. They were staying away. Now, whether it was by design or not, I saw him playing a lot of free and deep, which, Trace McSorley was not throwing the ball deep to the middle of the field. Maybe it's because of Kyle Hamilton. Maybe that's just not the scheme that they were trying to run. But there's nothing he can do about them not going towards him. Like, there's nothing you could do. He played well. When he had the opportunity, he was opportunistic.
You know what, McConnell, the best analogy is let's do baseball. Literally. If a pitcher goes up against the opposing team's best hitter, they're 9 times out of 10, they're not going to throw strikes. They're going to try to walk him.
Yeah.
Do you expect your best hitter on your team to try to hit a ball that's way out of his batting box, pitcher's box? Come on now, let's be real about it. So if Darrell Reeves is out there, if Jalen people still target Jalen Ramsey. Let's stick on the Darrell Reeves or Richard Sherman, that Legion of Boom. Back in the days where if you had certain corners out there, they're not going to throw it that way. They're going to throw it the opposite way. So if you see certain safeties, Kyle Hamilton, Marcus Williams, Tyrann Mathieu, Derwin James, shout out to him on the big contract extension. You're going to try your best to stay away from those guys. I mean, to this day, Tom Brady talks about. Come on, gee. Tom Brady to this day talk about the most hated DB is Ed Reed. Ed Reed can dial things up in a different way. Now, I'm not calling out Kyle Hamilton, Ed Reed. All I'm saying is that he's still getting his feet wet, and he's going to make his presence known. And J Mill, that pass breakup was most definitely clutch. When he was around the ball, he made his presence known, and that's what all matters.
I thought it was hilarious when they showed the replay, and they're like, look how high he is. And it was like his knee is where everyone else's helmet was. And I was looking at that, and I was like, that made me think of Cam Chancellor. Like Cam Chancellor used to jump the offense at the center on field goal attempts. Yeah. It just made me think of that. I know it's not allowed anymore, but like that type of a body, when they throw him in the box or something like that with that athleticism, you can't. I mean, it's like Madden. I know Madden's super unrealistic with it, but like guys are intercepting balls, that are thrown 20, 25 feet behind him. Kyle Hamilton's that type of dude where he's just jumping up. Like those arms are getting in front of you. It's like a shot blocker in the NBA, like Dikembe. You're just not getting by him. Josh was the most popular man on the planet right now. Everyone wants to talk about Kyle Hamilton, I guess. But I mean, it was just great stuff from him. And I see. Yes. I mean, I saw him. He had 2 return touchdowns, right? 1 punt, 1 kick returner.
This is ridiculous.
And then we're Don Jones. Hyperextension. He's missing the rest of the preseason, which just means next week. And then He's missing next week, and we'll see. Alex, this thing can call live.
Yeah. You know what, guys? I'm gonna just hop off for the night. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all coming through the stream. I know it's about 100. I know it's about 100 of y'all in the stream. I appreciate y'all coming through. McConnell, just hit me up.
All right, sounds good.
All right, y'all. Y'all have a good one.
All right, man. See you later. All right, guys. We're gonna let Joshua take that call. But yeah, let's see. Gotta answer this phone. J-Bill, that's too cold. Worries about if Tristan Colon is the center. Spooky just says bro's number got leaked. Yeah, I don't want him to be the starting center. I think that right now, like, he's center number 3. Like right now, it's Tyler Linderbaum, and then it's Makari, and then it's Cologne, and then I believe Ben Powers I saw lined up at center. I don't know how long he was doing that, but yeah, I don't want him to be the full-time center. If we need a couple of plays out of him, I have no problem with it. But let's talk about Jordan Stout. A lot of people were disappointed that we did not draft Mr. Matt Araiza, because Matt Araiza is the punt god. Matt Araiza was the prospect everyone talked about. But Jordan Stout has come out and just been an absolute monster. Absolute monster. 2 punts inside the 5. Put one. I think the most impressive punt wasn't even one of the ones that went to the 5. He had the 58-yard punt. It landed on the out of bounds line, so it was unreturnable and got the maximum amount of distance possible. Landed about the 17-16 yard line. It was fantastic. It was unbelievable. I loved it. How did I feel about Anthony Brown? I love Anthony Brown. I think he brings explosiveness to the Ravens offense that we don't see out of Tyler Huntley. And I like Tyler Huntley, but he's very conservative. So he doesn't really throw the ball deep. He just doesn't have that in his game. And he really likes to, when he doesn't have that first read, he really likes to drop his head. Now he can still make plays. He's still a really solid football player. I'm not trying to take anything away from him, but I love Anthony Brown's game because, we see him make those throws down the field, because that's what you have to do at Oregon. Oregon is all about having those guys go deep and hitting them when they're open. I mean, that's the whole offense. You set them up by running the ball, and then boom, all of a sudden you got track stars like Devin Allen going long, and it's just like, boom, got to hit them on a line, and they're going to make some big time throws and get some big time plays. That's what we saw out of Anthony Brown. That's what we saw out of Herbert. That's what we saw out of I can't remember his name. His last name was Thomas. I think it was I don't know, Thomas. We saw it out of Mariota. He's got to hit those deep balls. I mean, that's what Oregon tries to do. They got the speed, got to hit the deep balls. That's what he's able to do. And so that's why we see guys like Raleigh Webb being able to get those passes. That's why we see him taking those deep shots to Mekhi Polk, forcing those pass interference. So absolutely love what I saw. I think Huntley also played a really good game. So they both played well again. And we'll see kind of what happens. But Asmodeus, yeah. So we do have 2 number 11. Someone brought it up as well. Benjamin said, why do we have 2 guys? Yeah, we've had him wearing number 11 for a while, and I honestly don't know how it's possible, because I honestly do not understand how we have 2 number 11s, but we do. Jordan Stout and Raleigh Webb both wear number 11, and I do not know how. Like, I legitimately don't know how it's possible. And so, yeah, they put the graphic up saying it was Jordan Stout, but it was Raleigh Webb. But I don't know how they wear the same number. It doesn't make any sense. In college, you can wear the same number if you don't play the same side of the ball. So you can have 2 number 5s and 2 number 10s and all that stuff. But it was very good. And Huntley's yards. Oh, wrong comment. Preseason numbers, practice squad jersey. Yeah, that's fair. Huntley's yards came from Yak. That's also very true. When you look at, I gotta go back to the game stats. These players, oh darn, they don't show the Yak for all these guys, but Isaiah Likely, probably at least a third, maybe half of his yards were all after the catch. Raleigh Webb, his yards were mostly after the catch, but Mekhi Polk after the catch, and he was playing with Huntley. So yeah, a lot of Huntley stuff is after the catch. He dinks and dunks. It says his average was 9.2 yards, but really his like air yards was probably around like 4 or 5. It's very dink and dunk. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's less explosive unless we have real playmakers with the ball in their hands. And Isaiah Likely is showing he is that playmaker. We also have 2 players. I didn't know we had 2 players wearing 46. Who are the guys wearing 46? I honestly have no idea who's wearing 46 for the Ravens. I don't have the depth chart up with me right now, but 85 players, not many numbers. Like, yeah, but there's still there's 99 numbers to choose from if you're going on at 0 to 99. Actually, I don't think you can wear 99 or 0. So there's 99 numbers to choose from. We have 85 players. Everyone should have their own number. Polk and Folk, that's also true. Yeah, that's a good point. If Polk ends up making the team, I wonder what number he would end up having to go to or maybe Fuller would end up switching numbers. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But what was our receivers' yards outside of Likely? Yeah, so receivers' yards, Raleigh Webb, 2 receptions, 46 yards, and a touchdown. The long one was the 38 yards. Mekhi Polk, 1 reception, 19 yards, also drew the pass interference call. Bailey Gaither, 2 receptions, 18 yards. And then everyone else's receptions were under 10 yards, or receiving yards was under 10. So Isaiah Likely was half of the 217 yards of offense. Or of passing offense. Like, it's very funny because we watch this offense, and the offense doesn't look very good. Obviously, they were able to put up points, they were able to score, but when like Lamar Jackson is playing, like the Ravens are going to have like 400 yards. It's going to be like double. Like preseason games are just really slow in general. Like that's just how they typically go. Now, sometimes teams are built where they have a lot of track stars, as those backup guys. So maybe they score a lot of points like the Buffalo Bills did in their preseason game this week. But overall, preseason is very slow because it's much more controlled and, it's just not as many superstars. The quarterbacks aren't slinging the rock like the starters do. The wide receivers aren't as filthy as the starters are. So it's much slower scoring. There's a lot less yards. Maybe that's why the Ravens are so good. Is because they know how to, really be methodical and move down the field, traditionally. But he was mostly paired with Huntley, or was he in with Brown? Isaiah Likely was only in the first half, which was all with Tyler Huntley. If you're asking about Tyler Huntley or Isaiah Likely, sorry. So I'm surprised Bridges for award wide receiver 4 or 5. I think the gap has been closed. I think I still like Bridges in that 4 spot. Or actually, sorry, 5 spot. Tylan Wallace, we'll see where he ends up fitting. But if Tylan Wallace is hurt to start the year, I still think I like Bridges. But at the same time, the way that the Ravens are playing Bridges, it doesn't look like he's leading right now. The way that myself and the fans have been talking about it. He's not coming in until the late 3rd quarter, 4th quarter. Mekhi Polk, basically was out there to start the game. Jalen Moore was out there to start the game. Benjamin Victor was out there to start the game. It looks like, in my opinion, Moore and Victor are the 2 guys that are leading the battle in terms of the Ravens' eyes. Now, me personally, I like Bridges, and then I like Mekhi Polk, and then I like Jalen Moore, and then I like Isaiah Likely. That's kind of my personal preference, but based on what we've seen, I think Jalen Moore and Benjamin Victor are the 2 guys leading for John Harbaugh, which means a lot more than who's leading for me. So that's what really matters. I want to see Robinson next preseason game. Robinson who? Robinson, like Brian Robinson Jr., the running back for the Commanders, or a Robinson on our team that I am blanking on? I'm going to assume Brian Robinson Jr. I would love to see Anthony Brown. Honestly, I think we may see Lamar Jackson for the first drive next week. Demarcus Robinson. Yeah. Demarcus Robinson. Yes, thank you guys. Thank you guys for talking about that. I was like, Robinson, who is Robinson? And I know we're playing against Brian Robinson, who I talked about a ton in the pre-draft process, running back out of Alabama. So I was like, oh, you guys talking about him? No. Demarcus Robinson. Yeah, I definitely want to see him next week. And that's true. Signing him, like, that's maybe what we were hoping Bridges turns out to be. It's going to be on the roster unless Tylen is out for the next year. Yeah, no, Dylan, I think that's a fantastic point right there. Yeah, Demarcus Robinson. Can you talk about the Ravens have lost the Phils in the last 4 games, and that's our first 4 games? Okay, so looking at all of those teams, the way that they played those last 4 games, we didn't lose to the Jets. That's our first rating, so luckily we got that one out of the way. But the Dolphins. The Ravens came out against the Dolphins, and they were incredibly cocky. And I was cocky because the previous, I want to say 4 meetings, they had outscored them like 160-20. Like, it was unbelievably bad. Like, historically, they've been beating up on the Miami Dolphins. And they went in there, and the Dolphins had a scheme, and the Ravens were not adapting, and they were not adapting to the cover zero, the all-out blitz. I think the Ravens have adapted to that. I would hope that they have a strategy to go against that, but the Bills are going to be a tough matchup. Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, they're 1-1 against each other. That's a toss-up. I think they're 2 of the top 3 teams in the AFC. I think the 3 best teams are the Ravens, the Bills, and the Chiefs. It's going to be difficult no matter what against the Buffalo Bills. The New England Patriots, we lost that game. It was an absolute mess. It was like playing in a monsoon. It was a monsoon that we were playing in. And so that I don't take that game with anything, any value whatsoever. Because last time we played against them, Cam Newton, I believe, was starting for them. And it was just torrential downpour. And it just, the offenses didn't work because he couldn't throw the ball. And those are the types of games where Bill Belichick shows why he's the greatest coach of all time. Is because he's like ready for those situations, because Bill Belichick understands the game of football better than anyone in the history of the world. And he was able to say, like, oh, yeah, I'm going to run this game like the 1930s. I'm going to run this game like the 1950s. That's exactly what he did also against the Buffalo Bills in that game that they played when I think Mac Jones attempted 2 or 3 passes. That's what showed, Bill Belichick has a plan and he knows exactly how he's going to execute it. The Ravens weren't ready for a monsoon game. It was kind of a shot in the dark. So Bills, incredibly difficult. I have nothing to say about it. It's going to be tough. The Finns and the Pats, they're going to be tough because, I think they both have good coaches. I think the Finns have a much better roster than the Patriots, but Bill Belichick is always going to be difficult to beat. Like, it's not an easy start to the schedule by any means. And the Bills is going to be really tough. So I do think that the Finns and the Patriots, we can throw out those previous games. The Bills is just going to be tough. One of the best teams in the NFL. Always going to be difficult to beat the Bills with Josh Allen. I have not talked much about Kyle Fuller. Kyle Fuller looked really solid. He got that interception, and that's what we want to see out of him. We want to have guys that make plays in the defensive side of the ball, get turnovers. That's what he did. So I really liked what I saw out of him. And yeah, Charlie Kohler's injured right now, so that's kind of why we saw that. Yeah, Greg Roman, that was the worst play call game I think I've ever seen in my entire life was that game. I was so mad after that game. I was pissed. That was so annoying because we're watching it and it was like, call a slant route, call a slant route, call a slant route, call a slant route. They kept not calling slant routes. It was so annoying. So annoying. So I talking down. Yeah, away forced the interception. I think the interception that was Kyle Fuller's was away was just on his tail. And Trace McSorley, I felt bad for him because it looked really tough to be out there. But it doesn't matter. I mean, Flacco's fine. Flacco's a veteran quarterback that knows what he's doing. It's probably going to be emotional for him, but the Jets roster isn't very good. If Flacco went out and he was on, the Rams roster, it would be like, oh my gosh, we're facing Flacco. He's going to destroy us. But he's not on the Rams roster. He doesn't have Cooper Kupp and Aaron Donald and Sean McVay and, Jalen Ramsey. He's got Robert Saleh, who's not horrible, but still yet to be really seen as a full head coach. He's got a decent offensive line. He's got a rookie running back, Breece Hall, who's really solid. But, his pass catching weapons are, Elijah Moore, Garrett Wilson. Who else did they have? Corey Davis, I believe. And I don't think they really have a good tight end. They may have signed somebody, but yeah. And the defense is, they don't have a lot of guys. Obviously, they have Stingley, right? I think they have Stingley. They have Stingley or Sauce. I think they have Stingley, though. I think Sauce plays for the Texans. Now I got to check it. Sauce, no. Never mind. No, Sauce plays for the Jets. I really hope we win by a lot. I'm going to be at that game in New York, so I'm super excited for that. I hope we win by 40. I want to see 2019 Ravens Dolphins again. They did that one on the road. Let's do this one on the road. Not going to say wrong, Spooky J. There we go, Dylan. There we go. Will I be wearing a Flacco jersey? No, I will not. My Flacco jersey will stay. It's right there on the wall. It's right next to the Ray Lewis one. You guys can't see it, but yeah, I do not have any Jets gear or anything like that. Yeah, we should win that one by a lot. What's funny is the plays aren't designed by Kyler Murray. The plays are all designed by Cliff Kingsbury. That's the thing. Wow, we got 120 people. And shout out to everybody in the stream. If you guys aren't subscribed already, if you guys want to hit that subscribe button, really appreciate it. But, this is it was a great game. Really fun game to watch. And if we start 4-0, I don't know for sure, just if we stay healthy, yeah. But I think the biggest thing is seeing consistency in the Ravens. The Ravens' problem last year was they weren't blowing out teams that they should blow out. That's what we saw in 2019. That's what we saw in 2020. Was when the Ravens played against teams that they were better than, like clearly better than, they demolished them. There was no chance. Last year, it was, we'll beat them by 3, like the Detroit Lions. And I'm not blaming anybody individually, but, there were just mistakes in all of these games that should have been blowouts. Like in the Detroit Lions game, Hollywood just kept dropping the ball on certain plays. It was like, man, this should really be a lot, this should probably be a 20-point game right now. Instead, we're down by 2, with 40 seconds left. And we're like, oh no, what's going on right here? So, yeah, they got to make sure that if they can blow out the Jets, if they can put up really good performances, like if they lose to the Bills, I'm not worried about it. But as long as they look good, and they show consistency and they play and they don't play to their opponent's level, that's what I want to see out of them. Absolutely. I definitely think we'll see Mandrews likely and Nick Boyle out there a lot. Like it's going to be like a lot. And then we'll have Rashad Bateman at wide receiver. And I think that's like really good. I know a lot of teams would be really upset when they see 3 tight end sets, but I mean the Ravens can go They can throw it likely on the outside, have him motion to the slot on the opposite side of the field, and then call a passing play, and it would work totally fine. Isaiah Likely's touchdown catch today, he was coming out of the slot, so we can see it, and I think we will see it, and I think we'll see it a ton. I think that'll be like the biggest part of the offense. Will be the 3 tight end sets. That's what Greg Roman's offense is built on. That's where he's had all of his success. That's where Lamar Jackson has had his success. He loves his tight ends. And now we have a legit wide receiver 1. We have a legit tight end 1, 2, and 3. Isaiah Likely would be a starting tight end on 25 tight end, or probably like 20, at least 20 teams in the NFL. Like, who would you rather have? Mike Gesicki, who's, a lot of people say is like the 10th best tight end in the NFL, or Isaiah Likely? I'm taking Isaiah Likely. Now, I would probably take Darren Waller over him. Currently, I would take Kyle Pitts. I would take Andrews. I would, but most guys, I would take Isaiah Likely over. And he's a number 2. So it's filthy. No. I think we have 2,000-yard receivers, and I think they're both Bateman and Andrews. I think they both get 1,000 yards this year. I think Likely probably gets like 700. And then I think we get a couple hundred, maybe 400 out of Duvernay, 400 out of Prochet. It's kind of what I'm thinking, but watch, we're going to see Chuck Clark and or Kyle at the will spot. I don't think we'll see him a ton just because, that's where Patrick Queen typically plays. Now, maybe they step into the box and, step into a Sam spot. Maybe they step into this shift, maybe a little bit, but I don't think it would be like something where it happens like all the time. I think maybe they go into, in certain nickel sets. They'll throw them in. Maybe they throw Chuck at Mike, though. I don't know. We could definitely see it, but I can't give a number on it, but I think we'll definitely see it. I think it's pretty low. For a tight end to win, they would have to put up ridiculous numbers. He's going to be seen as tight end 2 on the Ravens. The benefit is there's not going to be a quarterback winning it most likely. So it'll either be like Breece Hall, who I think is the only running back that's going to come in and be running. Oh, Breece Hall and Dameon Pierce and Brian Robinson Jr., I think, are the only 3 running backs that are going to be running back number 1 on day 1. So it's going to be one of those 3 or one of the wide receivers. It could be a Drake London. I think Jameson Williams is going to be hurt to start the season. So it could be Chris Olave has looked really good in Saints camp. I know that. Let's see, who else is there? These are kind of the big ones I think I've gotten through. Drake London. But yeah, I see a lot of people talking about Josh Ross. He's played really well. I definitely think he will probably round out the Ravens linebacker group. Trent asked who makes the team at linebacker. I'm thinking Patrick Queen. I'm thinking Josh Bynes. I'm thinking Malik Harrison. And I'm going to go with Josh Ross. I think he's played better than Christian Welch. And Christian Welch has played a little bit of special teams for the Ravens. Sorry, there's my eyelashes in my eye. Special teams for the Ravens a little bit. So maybe he's a practice squad guy. He was a practice squad guy for a couple of years. And then he ended up getting promoted to the roster when I can't remember. Someone got hurt and he ended up getting promoted. But it's kind of my thoughts on it. How would you sort the cornerback depth chart? Marlon number 1, Marcus number 2, Kyle Fuller in the slot, then Pepe, and then Brandon Stevens. And then Jalen Armour-Davis when he gets healthy. I just haven't seen anything from Jalen Armour-Davis, so it's really tough to gauge how well he is. But that's kind of my thoughts. And I think we probably also keep Daryl Worley as kind of our last guy. I don't think Trace McSorley is awful. He's a backup. He's a really solid backup in the NFL. Most teams, I think, would have Trace McSorley as their backup. He's mobile. He's smart. He can throw the deep ball. Is he the most accurate? No. That's why he's not a starter. Is he the most mobile? No, he's not a starter. That's why. But he can give you a spark, and we've seen it. We've seen the spark that he can bring as a backup quarterback. He looked really good when he would come in and the Ravens needed to play. He was doing that. Like, he's a great backup in the NFL. Is he ever going to be a starter consistently? I don't think so. But that's, I think he's going to make a good career in the NFL as a backup quarterback. Conclusion. Oh, I'll start with the first one. Patrick. Shout out to Patrick. Brendan thought Kyle Hamilton played the edge well on the option. Geno Stone didn't fill well on the Trace touchdown. Yeah. I didn't watch a lot of Kyle Hamilton on that play. I haven't rewatched the play, but yeah, I definitely did see Geno Stone kind of miss right there. I saw Travis Jones. He was double teamed on that play. I think Travis Jones also got injured on that play, but he got double teamed initially. Then another D lineman ended up shifting with the other guy. The Ravens destroyed the running back. Geno Stone wasn't able to get inside. And I did see someone was covering the outside. I didn't notice that it was Kyle Hamilton. So if that was Kyle Hamilton, then I really like the way that he played it. Yeah, I think he's going to be someone that we can definitely throw in the box, throw on the edge, throw at Sam, and be very okay with it. Like, he's going to be physical. We've seen him hit people. So I'm excited to see him. If he does, I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't make the team. I don't know. It just seems like the Ravens had him on the roster last year. They brought him back. And if Jalen Armour-Davis isn't healthy to start the year, I think he maybe makes it. But that's kind of my thoughts on Daryl Worley. Like, I don't think he's very good by any means, but we don't really have that many guys right now. Geno Stone or Darius Washington. Ooh, I love our Darius Washington, but I think I got to go Geno Stone. I think I've just seen more out of Geno Stone so far. I don't think he needs it. Now, would I be upset if he plays? No. The only thing is, like, we know Lamar's the starter, and he gets to play the Jets in week 1. I'm fine with him going against the Jets and having that be his first game. He may be a little rusty to start the game, but it's the Jets. If the Ravens played the Chiefs week 1, if the Ravens played the Bengals week 1, or a team that was going to be extremely difficult and is going to be like monumental for positioning, and it's going to be a really tough team, I'd be like, okay, yeah, maybe plan for a quarter to like really get him set in. But if Lamar's first quarter of football is in week 1, it wouldn't be the worst thing. So I think either way, I'm completely fine if he plays and if he doesn't play. Does not matter to me whatsoever. That's fair, Patrick. I think I would definitely rather have our Darius than Worley. So I like that reasoning. I think that's fair because you can consider our Darius, a slot cornerback if you want. So I like that. Yeah, I think you're right on that one. I don't think so. Doesn't matter. Like, calling the plays, like, I mean, Greg Roman's going to do it in the season, so that's what really matters. But, and Young Hoop, appreciate you. I'm doing well, having a good night. I predicted the score of this game correctly. First time I did that since Ravens beat the Chiefs. What was it, 36-35 or 35-34, whatever it was. But yeah, I'm doing well. How are you doing? Let's see. Yeah, likely is a beast. Oh, you were at the game? Oh, let's go. That must have been so much fun. That must have been awesome. Especially just like laughing in front of all the Arizona fans. It's got to be sick. I mean, it'd be cool if Lamar called plays, but like, I don't know. Problem is Greg Roman is very controlling with the plays. He's not going to give Lamar access to the vault. Cut next.
I don't know. I mean, it could be really anyone. It could be someone like Slade Bolden, who hasn't played yet, and I don't think he's injured right now. But I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. I think we may need to cut 10 people. I think we have to have 70 people before next week, and then after that we have to cut it down to the 53. So it'll probably be like some random linebackers. The one thing about Ben Powers is a lot of people, Ben Cleveland is looked at as a right guard by the Ravens organization. I don't think Ben Cleveland is going to be a very good left guard. The way that everything looks like is he's going to replace Kevin Zeitler when he leaves, because I'm pretty sure this is the last year of Zeitler's contract. I think it was a 2-year deal. And the way that they talk about it is like he's the backup right guard, and Tyree Phillips is the backup left guard. He played in college. He played at the right guard spot. Ben Cleveland did. And so I think they're prepping him to become the right guard of the future when Zeitler leaves. So I don't know if trading Ben Powers would be worthwhile unless maybe we threw Tyree Phillips in at left guard, because I think Tyree Phillips is a really good guard. Horrible tackle. Do not ever put him at tackle. He's terrible. And yes, he's fine. He came back to the game. Falele did end up coming back to the game. Ooh, first fan favorite to get cut. Now, I don't want to say this. I don't want to say this whatsoever. Like, at all. At all, I do not want to say this. But I'm going to say Shamar Bridges. And I want him on the team. I've said this. I think he needs to be on the team. But, I mean, the Ravens just aren't playing him until the fourth quarter. And so, I mean, that shows that, the way that they play him is typically going to be the way that they're looking at them on the depth chart. Initially, we're seeing Victor, and we're seeing Moore, and we're seeing Polk. We're not seeing Bridges till the. We were seeing Bailey Gaither. We were seeing Raleigh Webb. Shamar Bridges takes so long to get it, and I love Shamar Bridges. If Slade Bolden is injured, I think Slade Bolden. But he may be a guy where we throw on the injured list and are able to keep him on the roster. I don't know if he's really a fan favorite though, but I'm going to go Shamar Bridges because. I don't know. It doesn't look like the Ravens are valuing him like a lot of us fans are. That could very well be true. I hope that's true. I really do want to see him. I really think he should make the roster. But yeah, hopefully the Ravens weren't playing him as much because they were trying to get looks at the other guys. Yeah, I hope that's correct. Why did we get rid of Bozeman? Because we drafted our center. Bozeman, we drafted the best center prospect in the last 10 years. We haven't seen him play yet. So that's why we're questioning center. But I think Linderbaum's going to be fine. Ooh, I did not know this, Patrick Silverman. That's interesting to know. He's one of the highest rated blocking wide receivers in the league. That's Miles Boykin 2.0, but he's shown that he can make big plays. So I love it. I didn't know that about him. That's really interesting to know. Because the big boys get tired. I think that's my best explanation is the Ravens don't have that many defensive linemen, so they need breaks and they need breathers because they're all, 300, 330 pounds. And typically, when you have defensive tackles, a lot of those guys are only going to be playing, 3 plays in a row, 2 plays in a row, 1 play in a row. So they got to sub them in and out. So I think that's why because he wasn't out there every play. They're subbing them in and out like you would in a real game. So I think that's kind of the explanation. Is the wide receivers, they can play. They're used to playing every down of the game.
Whereas defensive linemen, like they need subs. And the Ravens don't have enough guys to be like, oh yeah, these are the 9 defensive tackles we're going to be rolling out. 3 for, 2 for each quarter, and then 1, backup just in case. They don't have that many. Yeah, Travis Jones, he should be fine. He was a hyperextension. Williams. Are you saying Marcus Williams? Because Brandon Williams isn't on the roster. But I think Calais is going to be great. Calais was the best defensive player on the Ravens last year. He may have been the best player on the Ravens last year, including Mark Andrews. Like, he was fantastic. I'm pretty sure Brandon Williams hasn't re-signed or didn't re-sign. Because last year was the last year of his deal. He hasn't retired, but yeah, he's not on the roster right now. So it's Matabike, Michael Pierce. He's still a free agent. Matabike, Michael Pierce, Travis Jones, Broderick Washington. May have someone else, but I don't think he's going to get double-digit sacks as Modi is, but he's just like an impact guy. Like he just plays well. Probably. I mean, I think he'll be ready for week 1 based on what we're hearing. It's not serious. They're like, yeah, we're not worried about it. He's missing next week probably out of a precaution, but the first game is in 3 weeks. There's a very good chance he's able to return by then. So, like, worst case scenario, week 3, yeah, probably. Unless something comes out that's different. But as far as everything with the information that we have right now, I'm going to say that. We need to block some field goals this season. Hey, we got Brent Urban and Calais Campbell and Kyle Hamilton. The field goal blocks are going to be happening. Yeah, Scotty Miller. Scotty Miller's not bad. Really fast guy. I think he ran 4.3. Oh, Fehoko not getting cut. Fehoko is not getting cut. That dude is dominating Cowboys training camp. I don't think he gets cut, but if he gets cut, Ravens better sign that fool. Fehoko, wide receiver 2 in Dallas. That's what I'm saying, guys. That's what I'm saying. Everyone knows Simi Fehoko. Ravens fans are going to show up to the Super Bowl when the Cowboys play in it. Simi Fehoko is going to be playing. Everyone's going to be like, we knew about this guy. We knew about him. Most likely, yes. But, if there's an injury or maybe Malik Harrison can take over. But I would assume yes. But I think Bynes and Malik Harrison switch out in run situations. So that's kind of my thoughts on it. Stout looks a lot better than Cook looked in the last 5 years or 4 years. Asmodeus, have a good one. Have a good night. I'm probably going to wrap up this stream pretty soon because I'm also getting really tired. But what do you think about Juwan James? I don't really like Juwan James. I don't think he's very good. But as a backup, today didn't look like the Ravens had good offensive tackle play today. So there's a lot of pressures. But, overall, there weren't a lot of sacks given up by the Ravens. The Cardinals ended up only having 1 sack, so it's all right. But, and I didn't see him commit any penalties, but majority of Mike snaps, I think that's going to be Josh Bynes. Unless actually, it may not be Josh Bynes. It could be Chuck Clark because Chuck Clark, may come into the box
and be the Mike. But it, because the Ravens run so much nickel and dime coverages. So yes, people are overreacting to Kyle Hamilton because what has Kyle Hamilton done wrong? I mean, really the times that the ball was near him, it seemed like he was making plays. It's hard to gauge someone when the ball's not thrown at him. Guys aren't open. He's not, allowing busted coverages, which is very good for me. Like, I'm very happy with that because our secondary, our safeties the last couple of seasons has been, oh, there's a busted coverage. There's a busted coverage. There's a busted coverage. 50, 60, 70, 80 yards. Hamilton hasn't allowed that yet. Yeah, I got scared for that too, but all right, guys. I think I got to wrap up this stream. It's past midnight on the East Coast, but I'll definitely have a full game analysis out tomorrow. Joshua and I will probably try and record that podcast and stuff like that. So thank you guys so much for coming through. And I'll answer this question right before I wrap up. Who's the leader of this defense? It's got to be. I think it's got to be Calais Campbell. I think he's the one. What does he yell? He yell, "Let's go!" Right? I think Calais Campbell's the guy that brings that energy. He brings the wisdom. I think he's the guy that's leading that defense. And he's still playing really high level football. So thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe for Daily Ravens content, and I'll see all of you again tomorrow.